Welcome to your Wednesday. Day back to work for most of us. It is things you might have heard. We've been doing this all week long. We're going to take a break, so we're glad to have you with us, but glad to have more consistent news happening as more people are out there doing stuff for good and unfortunately for ill. We're going to present for you in just a few minutes the best in yesterday's tops in information, politics, current events, and pop culture because you told us what stories were the best. You vetted the stories for us by going to our feeds, and we took the best of those and pulled out 8 of them to give to you today. We'll do that in just a moment. Now, make sure that you go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com for more details behind the scenes of what we do all week long, 5 days a week with this thing, plus the weekend stuff and other things, bringing the conversation to you for wherever you happen to be. Today is Wednesday, July the 5th, 2023, as I've said, I think once or twice already, and we're back to normal after the 4th of July holiday for the United States, back to the normal patterns of most things, and back to the news as it is. Here we go with stories that were vetted by you and curated by me here. The first story for today, no particular order, by the way. The first story for this morning happens to be going straight to the source. Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut shakes off rain delay and defends his title at Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Now, a 2-hour rain delay kept the men from getting to chow down. But when he got to it, Joey Chestnut was able to get down 62 hot dogs in the 10-minute time limit. 16th title, so he's basically keep on rolling on this thing. Now, the biggest thing about this was he was going for a record and wanted to. The record's somewhere around 99 hot dogs. Last year, he got somewhere in the 80s, so he was going to go and blow it. We're not sure if it was nerves or the delay or whatnot. Joey Chestnut later quoted saying he's just happy he got a chance to eat some hot dogs on the 4th of July and compete. That was good for him. On the women's side, Miki Sudo ate 33 and a half hot dogs in 10 minutes. A bit disappointed in her performance of the weekend. By the way, New York is not, the home to the only big time eating contest for hot dogs on 4th of July. The Florida Keys has one every single year, and the guy who won this year is the same guy that won since 2015. This guy is, yes, 8-time winner of the contest without any breaking, so he may take Chestnut for a run for his money. I guess they get in the same league. Let's go to the next story. This one, 4th of July, but sad. Fireworks explosion kills 1, injures 9 others in Michigan. Every year when I was on the radio, we had a doctor on every week to talk about things like that. And every year we had different things that were sort of set. We had for summer, we talked about bug season. We had for winter, talking about preparing for the cold. And for the 4th of July, we always talked about fireworks and fireworks safety. This is why. A 43-year-old Michigan woman was killed after a fireworks explosion took place in West Michigan Monday night, according to local police. 9 others were injured in the explosion, and several area homes and vehicles were also damaged, according to the police. Go to the link and read the story for deeper details on the actual situation. It's a very, very sad situation that did not have to happen. Let's move on to the third story for the morning. It reads like this. Rogers the Musical, first Marvel musical at Disneyland, opens. Guess what? Rogers the Musical, the meta inside joke for the Hawkeye series of a musical about Steve Rogers leading the Avengers through the Battle of New York, is kind of real. Well, the whole situation was real. In fact, if you watch the full series of Hawkeye, at the end you see that first act of Rogers the Musical, the only actual act of the musical, where they're setting up to take on the Chitauri race as they're invading New York. They're going to perform that live starting this week at Disneyland. So one of the attractions at Disneyland is now Save the City, the act from Marvel, from Rogers the Musical. You can actually see that as an actual musical live. So add that to your bucket list. Or not. Let's go to someone who's basically, on the level of the evil part. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will not testify at his impeachment trial, attorney says. Notes from the robot editor tells us that embattled, that's the word it is to use, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will not testify in his upcoming impeachment trial, according to his defense team. Attorney Tony Busby said the Senate had the opportunity to have Attorney General Paxton testify during his investigation, but refused to do so. Paxton is temporarily suspended from office pending the outcome of his trial on 20 articles of impeachment. That's a lot. He is also under FBI investigation over accusations that he used his power to help a donor. That's also bad as well. We shall see this one literally play out in the news. Netflix closing in on $50 million of Jerry Jones docuseries. Poorly read headline, but here's the deal. While no team wants to sign him to do Hard Knocks this year, Jerry Jones is signing him to get $50 million to have cameras follow him around for Netflix. It's about Jerry Jones. It's not about the Cowboys. It's about Jerry Jones and, the hijinks that is the life of Jerry Jones. When you're a billionaire and everybody loves you because you have money, you get to see how things go. So we'll see this thing come through. It looks like it's going to be a done deal. He's going to follow around him as he does his stuff with America's team, and I know, lights cigars with $100 bills, whatever Jerry does in his spare time. And Netflix will figure it out. We'll all watch it. It will be what it is. Suspicious powder found at White House when Biden was gone was cocaine, AP source says. So Biden gone for the weekend. They find some suspicious white powder. Everybody evacuates because, rice and things like that. Turns out it's just blow. Now, was it Biden's? Was it Kamala Harris's? Was it Trump's? Was it Clinton's? Who knows whose cocaine it actually is? We just know that they basically evacuated the place because cocaine was found, and it was cocaine. There you go. No one's necessarily trying to kill the president. Just maybe they're trying to, make him not be so sleepy, if you will. Shania Twain wipes out on stage during Chicago concert. This is one that's kind of been around for a while, and we've had some issues with the links and with the story. So this one may have snuck in from being a bit too all long in the tooth. But basically, over the weekend, Shania Twain fell on stage while performing "Don't Be Stupid." That song she performed, "Don't Be Stupid," and then she plopped on stage and yelled at the crowd, "Don't be stupid, Chicago," as she, hit the ground. So this has been a thing. Of course, Tim McGraw fell on stage a couple weeks ago. People are falling all over the place. People are throwing things at stuff, but this is not that thing. This is this thing. She slipped on stage while performing and remained on the floor for about a few seconds for popping back up and then just going back into it. So no harm was done. She basically rubbed some dirt on it, shook it off, and she was fine. She performed again on Monday in New York just to keep things going. So everything is fine except for the weekend little mishap that happened. And finally, these are not guys that, these are guys that fall down on purpose or try not to fall down. They don't fall down. But Creators Clash 2, an influencers-run boxing event, failed to raise money for charities, organizers said. So if you ever wonder how crazy bad those influencers are that your kids are watching on the stuff on, that you can't understand what they're doing, and you wonder why they do these things, they do it for the fame, they do it for the gram, they do it for the likes, but they don't really do it for the public good or charity. Creator Clash 2 was a grouping of creators, online creators, in boxing matches to raise money for charities. Guess what? Didn't raise much money. Check out the link and go deeper into detail on the stories that are in there. But yeah, no money, no big money, no big money. Let's go to our teaser story for today. This is a story that we could talk about tomorrow if you deem it worthy of the Chit Chat. And you can deem it worthy of Chit Chat by simply going to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project. Twitter.com/th_conversation. What you do is you literally tell us what to talk about as you engage on the Twitter and the Facebook, and maybe the new thing coming out from Facebook. We will see what happens when it debuts tomorrow. It looks like, whatever they're calling it. You go through and you engage in the stories, and if you like the stories you see, or if you hate the stories you see and you want more chatter about it, just engage in it, like it, love it, hate it, share it. The more engagement you give to the story, the greater chance we have of talking about it in the next day. So Tuesday through Friday, we'll give you 8 of the top 15 stories. On Monday, obviously, it's a bigger weekend, so we pull 30 stories, give you 10 for those. Will we talk about Ice-T and KRS-One blasting the current state of hip-hop? Quote, "It's time for this generation to get a hold of itself." Will that happen? Only you can actually tell us that one. This is a conversation I have with many friends of my generation. And I had some conversation with this with my stepson, who's obviously of a deeper generation of the state of music. And I've had this conversation sort of with, my dad, where he would basically say, your music is crap. And now I'm saying, your music is crap. And just kind of generally go along with that. The biggest issue is some of my music was crap. And I think a lot of the music here today is kind of crap. But you can't really go through that, with the youth of today. Luckily, the 11-year-old is still into Kids Bop, so all that music is crap, and you can basically say that because it's Kids Bop. But we'll see what she goes to when she starts going to her gangster rap, goth, hard rock phase, which the rate she's going could be any moment now, and I'll have to deal with that. But let's deal with this story first. You want to chat this one up for tomorrow? Go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter and tell us if this is worthy of being in the feeds. If it's in the top 15, I'll most likely pull it for the top 8 stories to chat about here. Today's sponsor that we're highlighting is the Chess Store. Visit them at thisisaconversationproject.com/the Chess Store. We're going to get back into the swing of things today as we get back into a weird work week, a very short work week for many, only 3 days in this week. So congratulations on that one. But get back into the mindset of just getting your mind in set. Get a chess set. Go to the Chess Store and don't just get a cheap chess set from the dollar store. Get a nice, beautiful chess set you can put on your coffee table and it'll be a conversation piece, plus a great thing to play. And if you want something that's a little easier to carry around, they have luxury travel sets. I mean, nice travel sets, plus things that aren't just cheap plastic that are going to break on you and get crushed in your luggage. Check out the Chess Store and get yourself a great chess set today. If you haven't played a game of chess, now's the time to learn. It's not going anywhere. Trust me. Rap music, it's not going anywhere, but it's getting worse. I said that. Chess, never getting worse. Always awesome. And we're saying, well, we'll go back to rap in a second. But Chess Store is a great place to get beautiful chess sets, and you should do it today. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com, the Chess Store. Big ups to Miss Georgia at the church to run in the chess club, because she always gets much love and appreciation when we talk about the Chess Store. Gets much love and appreciation just all the time from me. But check out the Chess Store and get that next beautiful chess set that you want to own today. We are living at the Conversation Project. This is theconversationproject.com. That is where we're living, actually. This is theconversationproject.com, our main website where you can find out what we do for things you might have learned, might have heard, other things with different names. Things you might have heard. This thing I'm recording right now live, which is why I can't go back and edit it, which recorded live in video. And of course, there's also the video replays and the audio replay. We do have a newsletter that offers you all the links and most of the fun stuff without my face and voice. We have the weekend stuff, which is the weekly wrap up, and of course, story of the week. We have lots of things going on to get you in the conversation, let you know what people are chatting about. And if you think we're doing a good job of doing that, you can help a brother out. Go to the Conversation Project website, check out the sponsorships page and visit a sponsor. We get affiliate commissions from those. Check out the partnerships page, find ways to help us get more work done, and just be you. The most important thing you can do, of course, is follow the feeds and share the show. But if you want to go a little extra out to help us keep things going, we do appreciate that. And with that, we appreciate the time that we have right now to give you the fun stuff. Yay! Go on to the fun stuff for this morning. Starting off with birthdays for July 5th, including Huey Lewis, 73 years old on the day. The only knock I have against Huey Lewis is him suing Ray Parker Jr. for Ghostbusters because the song sounded like I want a new drug. That's literally the only thing I can think of that I've had a beef with Louis. We got to go now. Yeah. Louis. Huey Lewis with the news, 73 years old today. Now, of course, he had his issues with his hearing, and so he could not do his vocals anymore. So obviously, they're not touring anymore, but the music still lives on, and the heart of rock and roll is still beating within Huey Lewis. Edie Falco is 60 years old today, and she is, of course, known for doing the Nurse Jackie show, being in The Sopranos, popping up in various other great shows, and just being a great awesome actress. Those two words. Edie Falco, 60 years old on the day. And Megan Rapinoe, who may be the best soccer player today in the United States, even though she is a woman, and people don't like that, and people don't like her, and her purple hair, and her attitude. Guess what? She doesn't care. The women's teams are about to take stage in a few months, so they're going to go out there and kick some butt across the soccer fields. And Megan Rapinoe turning 39 years old, seeming like an old, because she is one of the older players on the team, not quite grandpa-ish, but still out there ready to teach the young childrens how to take over the next generation. I guess my mouth isn't back from vacation yet, so sorry about that. Going for history lessons in today in history, back in 1937 on the 5th of July, Spam, the luncheon meat, was introduced into the market by Hormel Foods Corporation. Not Spam, the email Spam, which was just named from that, but Spam because it is essentially everywhere. You can't get rid of it. That's why Spam is called Spam, but Spam is short for something ham. It was basically, the mixture of meat that lasts forever. The Hawaiians love it. They eat it by the pounds. People tend to say they don't like it. Guess what? Spam exists and is going nowhere. Born this day. if you can say it was born, in 1937. 1946, the bikini was introduced in Paris, France. Now, you may think that Eve may have brought this thing back, way back BC. But as an actual fashion statement, as something that people wore in public, the bikini, which was extremely scandalous at the time, was introduced in Paris, France on this day in 1946. And in 1989, the Seinfeld Chronicles, the original name for it, the Seinfeld sitcom, aired its first episode. The first season, of course, not much fanfare, not much to it. A couple tweaks to the second season and changing it from Seinfeld Chronicles to Seinfeld. And it turned into the show about nothing with people who were totally horrible, horrendous, just bad people living their lives and being just jerks about things, which came full circle when the show ended and they all got arrested for just being horrible people. Today, on the 5th of July, we celebrated independence yesterday. No independence today. Just go out there and get your apple turnover. It's apple turnover today. Don't try to be anything out of the ordinary. Don't try to be your own individual. Don't try to go out there and get a piece of cake or some sort of pie, maybe a churro. Today, it's about the apple turnover. Just submit yourself. Resistance is futile. Apple turnover day is the 5th of July. Get yourself an apple turnover and just be done with it. There. Finally, one more thing you might not have heard. A study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, sounds prestigious, drinking 2 cups to 3 cups of coffee a day is linked to a longer lifespan and lower risk of cardiovascular disease, regardless of whether it's caffeinated or decaf, ground or instant. The study analyzed nearly 500,000 British adults over a 10-year period and found that coffee drinkers had a slightly lower risk of death than abstainers. Now, remember, causality and coincidence. This studied coffee drinkers and just said that they had a slightly lower risk of death than anyone who didn't drink coffee. But it only studied people on the basis of them drinking coffee. So it didn't really look into how much they worked out, how bad they ate, whether they did other drugs. So remember that. Coffee may be something to help you better. If you drink 2 to 3 cups a day, it could help lower your risk of death. But it also may not do very much if you're tending to, do very risky activities. Your risky activity may vary. And with that, we're going to risk going to work today and try to get back to the swing of things into some normality, which for my job is far from normal. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being with us for this show. Whether you're watching it live with me, thank you so much for that, or you're watching on the replay or listening to the podcast review, the audio version. Or you're probably not hearing me if you're reading the newsletter because there's no sound in the newsletter. Thank you so much for being with us in this forum, for letting us provide for you these stories, conversational stories for you to engage in, and then tell us which stories are the most engaging. It is a fun thing to do. It is a bit of work. So if you want to help us out, as we've asked before, stop by our partnerships page, stop by our sponsorship page, but definitely help out by following us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter so that you can help us pick the stories we talk about every single morning. We want you to stay hydrated, stay limber and on task for all the grand things that you are here to do. We're so glad you survived your 4th of July. We had an incident last night where apparently we would go to bed early because we do. We saw fireworks on Sunday because we do that. And somewhere nearby in our new digs, there was a big fireworks show around 9:30 waking up the house because that happens. No fatalities, no casualties, no bad news here where we are, but hopefully you guys have the same thing where you are. We know some places do have some incidents, so there is that. We're going to thank you so much for being with us one more time and then get out of here for the day. Posting news stories already every 50 minutes. Go to our feeds, check them out, engage in stories. Tell me what I'm talking about tomorrow by going to the feeds today.